Hello, can you guys hear me now, hopefully? Hello, hello. Alright, it looks like we might be going live. Hey everybody, thanks for being patient with me. I hope you can hear me. If you can, give me like a thumbs up or something. Okay, good. So, evidently in the few months that I've been away from YouTube, things have changed, so here I am. Okay, so we are here to play, first of all, thanks for hanging out with me. We're here to play along with Craft Roulette, and the parameters for Craft Roulette this week, was to use a double Z fold card, Rudolph colors. Hoping you guys can read that. Rudolph colors, element is optimism, and a random is circles. So we are going to make a double Z, a top folding square double Z fold card. Trying to say that more than 2 times fast. It's insane. So for the project tonight, we are going to use the In My Hearts of Hearts stencil, which was released last month. And with this stencil, I gave you the positive and negative parts so that you could do masking if you wanted to. So I'll show you that real fast. Kimberly says hello. Judy says hi. Justine's got thumbs up, so she says she can hear me. That's good stuff. Alright, so this is obviously the negative spot, and this is the actual true stencil, and we are going to use that. And then we're going to use one of my favorite stamps. This is a religious stamp, but it can be encouraging as well. It has some of my favorite scriptures on there. So normally when you read the Bible, it says I am. But it's kind of hard to put that on a card saying I am. But it says always enough, capable, strong, beautiful, chosen, never alone, created, amazing, victorious, and always enough. And that comes from Romans 8:39, 2 Corinthians, Mark 10:27, Philippians 4:13, Ecclesiastes 3:11, 1 Thessalonians 1:4, Matthew 28:20, Genesis 13:1. So it gives people a reason maybe to look up scripture that maybe is not familiar with scripture in general. So I did cut out a circle, and I want to go ahead and stencil onto the circle first. And I'm just going to lightly stencil, and I'm going to use worn lipstick for that. And I'm using my Glass Board Studios magnets and board for that. So, like I said, worn lipstick. It's a nice pretty pink. And I'm not necessarily going all over the entire stencil. I'm just getting some random hearts down. And I'm probably not even going to re-ink. I'm just going to haphazard just so that we have a little bit of a background. So there's the reveal on that. Nothing special. It was not meant to be the item that steals the show tonight. Let's get a Misty out. And I am going to use my mini Misty. And I'm just going to put this in the center. And I'm going to stamp the UR. And I just made sure that I found a circle from my stash that would cut this out. So my random circles are going to be the writing of the scriptures and what they mean. And I'm going to use some VersaFine Claire to stamp this. I originally thought I was going to go with this gray, the Morning Mist, but I'm going to go with Nocturne just because it's my favorite. And so this is the first time stamping it, so I'm just going to rub it with my hands just to get any residue from the manufacturing off. And we're going to go ahead and stamp it. Lisa, you really should get some of those magnets if you use Justine D. That will help Justine Dvorak, who's in this group right now on our live. It'll get you 20% off for the next 3 months if you use our code. So Justine D. I'm all about promoting my team, and I know that she's got a great discount code. So you should use it and take advantage of it while you can. And I'm really giving this some love. I'm not sure where my stamp press is, but the hand worked just fine. Let's get a pokey tool before I start marking up everything. So we do sell these pokey tools in our store. One end is the pokey tool and the other one is a wax tip. Now, if anybody is watching and is unaware, with as much as we have put everything out on social media, I think it would be hard not to know by now. But we do have 30% off the entire store with code New Year 26. And that is good through the 31st at 11:59 p.m. So you've got about a day and a few hours left. Okay, so Justine D just put in her code. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. You might even get to see my dirty desk a little bit. So, with this being a square card, your card base is going to be 5 by 10. And you're going to score it at 2.5 and 5. And then this Pebbled Beach is what we sell here in the store. Excuse me. And it's my favorite craft because it has a little bit of specks in it, but it's really great with pencils. It's just a really cool color. And you're going to chop that down to 4 by 9, and you're going to score that at 4 and at 6.5. And then you're going to make some pink panels that measure 4 1/4 by 2 1/8 and 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I will show you what that looks like, even though I have mine already cut and scored. This is my very dirty scoreboard. So this would be, like I said, 10 inches, and I scored it at 2.5 and at 5. So I scored it in half, and then I folded it back on itself. So you've got the Z. We're going to do the exact same thing with this Pebbled Beach. And this is 4 1/4 by 9. And Von Marie says, hello. Hi, Von. And we're going to score this one at 4. So you would use your bone folder. Mine happens to look like, a lot like a pencil. You would just go down there, and then you would do it at 6.5. You fold it in half, and then you fold it again on its side. Okay? Gonna put that behind me, and hopefully it doesn't go crashing on the floor. So I wanted mine to be a little bit different, but without adding a whole lot of bulk in case you go to mail it. So that's where these panels are coming in. So I'm just using pink cardstock from my stash, and I'm using my faithful Barely Art glue. Put a little bit of bead of glue down. And that's going to go at the top of the card. It's actually going to go right equal to the score line, if you can see that. So you want it to be centered left to right, but you want it to be on the score. Okay? Then we're going to take the 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and we're going to add some glue to that as well. If anybody was wondering what the tech problems were, I had to sign into my account 6 times in order for the software to work, which was quite embarrassing, to be very honest with you. It's like, you know, you the hardest part should be like getting ready for the card. It shouldn't be logging in. But even though I knew my password and all that good stuff, it still didn't want to take it. So ideally your card should be pretty much lined up so you have a square. Alright. So your square is going to go up here. And when I say square, I'm talking about on your pebbled beach. It's going to go on this end. And this is going to be where we stamp is in the center. And I'm hoping I'm not messing this up. If I'm messing it up, you're all probably laughing at me. Let me see. So it's going to look like so. So now that I have figured out which end is right, I'm going to grab my Misty and we're going to put a sentiment in here. So I'm grabbing my large Misty. And again, I'm going to make sure I have this done correctly before I, it's always like measure twice, cut once kind of thing. So I'm putting this in my Misty, which is a little bit longer than my Misty, but that's fine. And I'm looking for my stamp set again. And I thought, we told everybody what God's promises were to them. So I'm at Valentine's Day, I always give my girlfriends God's love letter to his children, and a lot of that scripture that we talked about in the beginning was part of that letter. But if you read scripture and you actually insert your name or the person you are thinking about in there, the word is true for you as it is for anybody else. So on here, once God has told you that you are good enough, you are created, you are never alone, he's also going to tell you that you're amazing. So let's go ahead and be amazing in here. And I know it's a controversial thing. Do people stamp with oxides? And it's got enough pigment in it that I think you can. So I'm going to really get this inked up. And again, this is my worn lipstick. And we are going to make sure it's down here in the center because it is hanging off the top. I should have one of my pet presses here. It's probably across the room because I was throwing things frantic when this was not working. Looks like I need to ink that up a lot. I think I have like a bubble in my sticky mat, so I think that's why. So I might have to actually stand up. We're going to do some CPR, which, ladies and gentlemen, you should never have to do CPR, but if you've got a bubble in your sticky mat, sometimes you do. Still not getting a great impression on that. So maybe the people who are saying you should never stamp in distress oxide, maybe you're winning today. I don't know. But I'm always going to break the rules. I really don't like that you. There we go. Alright, so since this is super juicy because I stamped it like 12 times, we're going to go ahead and throw some embossing powder on it just so that we can move forward with our day. Let's see. I'm improvising. I have no idea where my little spoons went. Oh, it's right there. Hello. You know what? Leave it up to me to make a mess. Now, normally, if you were going to emboss, you would use your embossing powder tool, your anti-static powder tool, so that way you weren't, you didn't have a lot of static and stuff. But I am not worried about that because we're not stamping or coloring anywhere else, so I'm not worried about it. Now, I know that my container says white, but I know that it's clear. I just never updated my my box when I refilled it. So, because I buy my embossing powder in bulk. So let's get out our gun. So Lisa says she's gonna go beat her dough. I'll tell you what that means in just a second. I always heat the front and the back. So as I was saying, I always heat the front and the back because I've noticed that you get less warping. Ugh, all that powder that's all over my desk, it feels like I've got sand on my desk. So we are going to line this up, kind of like I said. Let's just do the top portion of this. And I always use wet glue so I have some wiggle room in case I've messed it up. So basically I'm just getting my square as straight as possible. And so far I've only done that top section. Okay. And now I'm putting glue on this bottom rectangle. And I'm lining that up, and I'm adding some pressure just so that the glue adheres nicely. So here we've got a top folding, double Z fold. So if you see that, we've got two Z's going on. And again, we want to really burnish that down at the bottom and at the top, because that's where we're going to have some stuff. All right, so we can do just that, and it would be a fabulous card, but I feel like that's not a me card. I don't know, there's something, it needs to be judged up a little bit. I'm not sure with what. You think we need some more hearts? I think we need some hearts. We just want it to stand out. We want it to be a little bit special. So I'm back to the worn lipstick. And if you notice, I'm not even doing this in the shape of the heart. So I'm just kind of laying it haphazard so that we get some semblance of hearts, but not the whole thing. Okay. think we can just, we need some more. We need more. We need more. I love cards. Yeah, it's one of my favorite stencils too. It's so versatile. It just gives enough texture, and you can use it just as is, or you can zhuzh it up. Okay, so we're not doing a whole lot here. So the whole thing with Craft Roulette is you've got people of all different skill levels that are playing along. So one week I might knock it out of the park and have like an image that I colored for, 4 hours, and then the next week I'll have something that's very attainable and takes an hour to do or less. So I did say that I was leaving out a lot of bulk without, that's why we kind of like did surgery on that square. But I still I'm a textures and feels kind of girl, so I am going to pick up this circle just a little bit. And let's see what kind of, do I have any twine in here? So we could go real matchy-matchy, and we could use this hemp twine in just regular jute twine color, or we could use some black. And my little black heart wants black because I like a little bit of contrast in my cards. So this could be our random circles too. What do you think of that? So I'm going to remove the backing from the foam tape. You guys, I just love these cards. And I love the challenges that I get from Instagram Hops or from Craft Roulette. It just makes me think out of the box, and it makes me make cards that maybe never would have thought to. But it kind of revives the creativity in me sometimes. And I'm not saying this is a spectacular card, but come on, it is cute. You have to admit. Let's get rid of that little tail. Let's make him do a twist or something. We're gonna twist. And so all I'm doing is making sure that the UR is straight. And there you go. You have the you are, and it tells you all the things that God says that you are, and then it reminds you that you're telling your recipient that you think that they're amazing. And then if you want to, because this slides down to a perfect square, you then have a place to write your very own sentiment. So card making does not have to be super hard. The hardest part for me tonight was to get on YouTube. But isn't that the story of our life? I do think that maybe we'll grab some embellishments. I'm going to sneak some glue down in here because the strings are causing it to pop a little bit, so we're just gonna let the glue work. Did you just see that? We're gonna let the glue work, and I'm gonna grab some embellishments. So we've got a ballet slipper, flat confetti in our store. I think it's $3.49, and again, that's a heck of a deal. You get like two, is it 2 teaspoons or is that I don't know, something. You get a lot. It's a big bang for the buck, and so that's there. That's 30% off too with code New Year 26 all in caps. And so I'm gonna just kind of scatter this around a little bit. And we're gonna call the card done here in a minute. So always make sure the cups are facing up. Because if not, then they're going to be like, they're going to have a little lip on it, and then you won't be able to get them to glue down as flat. And that's what I do love about these, is that they're flat and they don't add a whole lot of stuff. They go through the machines at the post office easily. They just make it real nice. And guys, I am going random with the bling because this is such a simple card. I just want to zhuzh it up. Now you could go, you know, with a little red heart, which is usually like one of my signature moves, is to put a little signature heart in there. Now these are Rudolph colors, so even though Rudolph's nose was red, we did use brown and beiges, like with the pebble cardstock and the dark brown. So I think it fits that. And then I think telling somebody that they are loved and that they're amazing is a very optimistic card, so I think it hits that. And then you've got the random circles, so we've got the random circles of the twine, we've got the random circles of the bling, and of the actual die cut and the stamping. So I don't think we could like be any more literal with Craft Roulette than what we are. And if you don't know what Craft Roulette is, it is on YouTube on Fridays. I think it's at 7 Eastern time. I could be wrong, but it's Craft Roulette. And you have, I call it like the Wheel of Fortune of crafting, and they spin the wheel, and it gives you all kinds of parameters, and you've got to make a card based on the parameters. So you literally have like no idea what you're making until you do it. Now, if you are a Patreon member, you have until Thursday evening to submit. If you're not a member, then you've got to do it by Monday. I am a Patreon member. I love to support Craft Roulette because it's so much fun. We sponsor frequently. Our design team, Justine, is on there. So I'm going to look at the comments. It looks like Judy Van Zant saying that she loves confetti embellishments. Me too, girl. That's why we got them in the store. Now, Lisa said that she had to go feed her dough. If y'all haven't seen on social media, I've gotten into sourdough bread. It all started because my husband wanted a hobby, and he started sourdough. And then we went on vacation, and I came back, and there was like what they call hooch on top of it. And so I thought it went bad, so I threw it in the garbage. Well, then we hadn't started it, so my hope was that I was going to start a starter for him so he could get back to baking. And it turns out that I love it. There's something very therapeutic about watching it bubble. And there's something very therapeutic about kneading the bread and just getting your hands in there. So I may have stolen his hobby. Hopefully he jumps in with me. So I have a starter that's like a half a gallon. I have one that's like in a jar. And my husband's got 3 starters now. Or is it 4? It's neglect, shoulda, coulda, and woulda. So he's got 4. I've got FAFO and dopamine, spelled DOUGHPAMIN, because it makes my dopamine flow. And it's my therapy. So now I have card making and bread making as my therapy. Lisa's back. So Lisa, tell me, are you finding the growing of the yeast to be therapeutic, or is it just you're not there yet. I'm curious. So I've sent a couple of people on my design team some starter, because Lord knows I have enough of it. And hopefully we're going to be like the sourdough queens and the card making queens of the internet. I don't know, but for now I'm happy with it. But wow, wasn't this a simple card? And like, okay, it's been, I mean, even with my like 20 minutes of figuring out how to get onto YouTube, it was still like a 20-minute card. But think about it. You could put like a scallop circle behind there and zhuzh it up and make it like all dimensional. You could cut out the UR and make it like popped up. There's so much that you could do with this. But I just wanted to keep it simple. And honestly, since it's been my first time in like at least 4 months, if not longer, that I've jumped on YouTube, I thought I should keep it simple because I totally anticipated that I would have all kinds of tech issues. So hopefully for the rest of you that are on the replay, I will edit out all of the are you there? Are you there? You know, because it took me forever to get logged in. But so Justine just linked it that if you want to play along with Craft Roulette, she put the link in there. And let me see if there are any other comments that I missed. Vaughn said a beautiful card. Vaughn, this actually reminds me of a Vaughn card because you do a lot of stenciling. And maybe that's what I was channeling. Maybe I was channeling my inner Vaughn Marie. Let's see. Looks like you guys kept yourselves entertained while I was trying to log on. Lisa wants those magnets. We talked about that. So use Justine D at Glassword Studios if you want some magnets. I will show you my magnets. I have these cool pink ones. I have this super cool ruler from them. So you need that. I have red, white, and blue. So I've got the red stripes and the blue and white stars, of course, because we know we are a veteran-owned company and we like all things American flag, so that's there. I was really hoping like during 4th of July and Veterans Day they would come out with an American themed glassboard. I was all on it. I was ready to buy it and they didn't. So, but I did get the magnets, so I've got quite a few. And then I also have these pond magnets. So these are what they came out with first, and they still carry them. So they're like that. And you never want to get your fingers stuck in the middle of those because it hurts. Ask me how I know. So go ahead and grab those. And everybody, you cannot beat 30% off the entire store. So we're talking barely art glue. We're talking stamping tools. We are talking clearance. Additional amount off of clearance. We're talking our stamp and die bundles. We are talking everything that we carry in the store. And you've got about 24 hours, 28 hours left to take advantage of that. Quite a few people have taken advantage of the sale, and I am so thankful from the bottom of my heart that people have come out to support us. But even if you just support us by liking and subscribing to our channels or sharing our channel with other people, that's enough support for me too. I mean, I'm very thankful for all of you. So I wanted to tell you that going forward, for 2026, I believe that 2026 is going to hold big things for Pajama Crafter Stamps. I think you're going to see some very nice new products come out. But we are really defining who we are as a company in 2026. And so Pajama Crafter Stamps, for the anagram PCS, we are passionate passionately creating with a servant's heart. So as much as we like to sell stamps and sell products, we also want you to feel that when you walk away from our channels and from our hops, that you've learned something. So in November, our team did all kinds of fun folds, and we made a booklet that is free for you to download. So all you have to do is go to the digital download, and you'll get a whole book of free downloads. That was our Christmas present to everybody, so it's not too late to grab that. That's still up on the website. So like I said, we are truly, as much as we're a business, we also want to be serving our community in any way, shape, and form that we can. So grab that. We also have a free coloring book that we did 30 days of coloring last year, and that is still on the website too, that you can print, or if you want me to print it and put it in a book, you can buy it. So that's all I've got. I have a feeling that Sean is downstairs cooking dinner and is waiting for me. So alright guys, if you don't have any more questions, I don't see the chat going crazy, then I'm going to jump off here and enjoy the evening. I promise you that I'll figure out the tech for next time so that you aren't waiting for me to figure out how to log in.